There's no doubt about it in my mind. Ever since I shifted my focus from anterior chain, thinking about quads and all this other stuff associated with, you know, pushing muscles. Ever since I've gone from that mentality to posterior chain, like I did 2 years ago, and then I moved away from it because of different hypotheses and different ideas, which led me to no gains, plateaus. Although I did learn a lot. You always learn a lot when your heart is into it and you push hard and whatever. And even though you might not get results, you do learn stuff, even in losses. In fact, they say you learn more when you lose. But ever since I've gone from that anterior chain business to thinking what I'm thinking right now, which is the posterior stuff, glutes. With it goes hamstrings, adductors, lower back, all that stuff. Ever since I started doing the GHD like a madman, sumo deadlifts for variety, conventional deadlifts, all that stuff. My squats have been feeling really good. I'm hitting 180 every other day for a set of 5 on the squats, which is very, very good, very good. Noticeable increase in capacity and strength, core strength, all of that stuff. Everything's great. Today was supposed to be a really easy day because yesterday I hit 180 for 5, so I was going to come in and do some forearm stuff. Prehab, rehab for the elbows, so they're not pissed off. I'm sitting there, finished with the squats. I got to 160 for 5. That kind of felt all right. I had second thoughts about putting 180 on, but I didn't. That would have really, really, really been a tough set. So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of getting the bar ready to do my wrist curls and all that stuff. And then I thought to myself, let's explore this idea. So I'm really hammering the hell out of the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, adductors, core strength, all of that stuff associated with pulling. But why am I stopping there? What about the lats? What about the traps? What about all the other stuff? Sure, it gets worked quite a lot in a deadlift, but what if I just do some like light rowing? Now, I have had 100 chapters of thoughts associated with this line of thinking. If you're squatting and deadlifting, lots of deadlifting, rowing is a tough sell, and it has been in the past for me. That's kind of been the conclusion. It just takes way too much out of me, and then I prolong the recovery from deadlifts. And so today I kind of ran into that frame of mind again, thinking about it. Is there a place for rows? Why not do pull-ups, you might say? Well, I've done lots and lots and lots of pull-ups in the past, and I'm not convinced that that is the best thing for it. Just like the anterior-posterior chain argument, I've been pull-up versus row. In my mind, that argument has been alive and well for a very long time. Sometimes it goes dormant, like in the last several months, but now it's arisen again. Do I train the lats and traps specifically, not just isometrically like when I'm doing the deadlifts, but do I get after them? Interesting. Today I thought I'd give it a go. 60 kilos, supinated grip, row to the belly button and below, and see what happens. So 60 kilos went on the bar, didn't go any further, did sets of 15, easing into it, and surprisingly my lower back didn't get lit up. So that's a positive. So then, naturally I'm like, what if I row and the key focus is not to get a pump in my lower back? If I start to get a pump in the lower back, then it's too much weight, decrease the weight. What if I approach it that way? What if I approach it in a way where it doesn't tax me too much through the lower back? Because we all know the lower back is one of the toughest recovering body parts in the body. This is why we can't deadlift very, very often, very hard. It's those resources are very precious when it comes to the lower back. It's just the nature of the makeup of that musculature, the nervous system, the spinal cord. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So when you stress that area out, it's almost like the central nervous system. Your brain goes, we don't have stability through that region. We're going to deregulate some of the stimulus to the muscles, deregulate the drive, the neural drive. And so then you start to feel weak and whatnot. So the lower back is a thing, it's a really, really thing. It's not like your freaking forearms or your biceps you can hit every other day pretty much hard. This is kind of where the row is a very difficult sell. Now the pull-up, there's no lower back at all. The trouble with the pull-up is that I feel like, I'm sure you can do it, better ways, but I've done lots and lots of pulling up, and I've rarely felt a carryover to deadlifts. Now, it could be just the way I do it, the volume and all that sort of stuff, and knowing me and my extremism ways. I probably did too much, too often. That's kind of the general vibe with me. Go at it way too hard and I draw the wrong conclusion and move on. Maybe it's that, but sitting here and just thinking about it theoretically, I think the row has better carryover to strength than pull-ups. For the simple reason is that it mimics movements that we want to get strong at, squats and the deadlifts. Number one, your feet are on the ground. There is a brace. And that's very, very important. It might not seem very important, but that is very, very important because it's high specificity. You're bent over, just like in a deadlift, just like in my squat as well, really. So the positions are very, very similar, and except me hip extending, I'm not hip extending, I'm just holding that hip position, and instead of my hips moving, it's my upper body that's moving. So in a way, you are mimicking the stuff that you want to get really good at, squats and deadlifts. You're training very much the same musculature in the same ranges of motion, in the same kind of picture, and you're working the muscles associated with dragging the bar closer to you. And why is that important? Well, in a deadlift, for me at least, half of the damn battle is keeping the bar close to you. The moment that bar drifts away from you, it's over. You are multiplying the forces required for your posterior chain to power through, and all of a sudden it's a fight that you can't win. So you got to keep the bar really close to you. Same thing with power cleans. You have to keep the bar really close to you. And I think this is the reason why when you are overdoing the row, it has negative effects short term for the deadlift, because you lose that strength, you fatigue those muscles which are requiring you, which are responsible for keeping the bar close. And then you start to deadlift maybe 3-4 days down the track, and you're like, damn, I'm feeling really weak. It's not that you're feeling really weak as a whole, it's just you've lost positioning there because the primary move is responsible for keeping that bar close to you, are fatigued. So this is where you get in trouble with the row when it comes to power lifting, getting strong in the big three. So this is kind of like the dichotomy between the two. Yes, short term you're suffering, long term you're probably really good. So if I am, being really, really honest with you, I think the row has a place, but you need to rejig and respect it in your programming. You need to rejig your programming. You need to kind of, understand what's going on. So for shits and giggles today, I thought, okay, my rear delts lit up, my traps, all of that got pumped from those supinated rows, and I thought, I wonder how bench feels. So I quickly ran up through the weights, very, very minimal warm up. I got to 140. The weights felt heavy, but I felt so solid through my upper back. Like all of that musculature was turned on, and I felt like I was on two pillows, like behind me, like the traps and the rhomboids. It felt I had great stability, although the top end strength I suffered. So the 140 was a grinder. Oh my God, it was a grinder, made me laugh. I actually almost started giggling halfway through. I wanted to stop, and I was like, nah, I still have the position, keep pushing. So it makes me feel good. So I just, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I just get a barbell next time I bench, and I just do an empty barbell for the supinated rows just to turn it on a little bit without fatiguing too much. So just a thought experiment today. I need to give it more thought of what I want to do, but it just, for the sake of completion, for the sake of closure, it makes no sense for me to get after the posterior chain, the lower body, and not include direct training to the lats. Especially now that I'm fully sold on the posterior chain being the keys to my success moving forward. Maybe that's something I need to really, really think about and put in some rows. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.